Good evening, Super League, and welcome to part 2 of the historic Super League triple header. We are getting into the business end of the season, and we're going to crack right on with it. Gives us great pleasure to welcome tonight the man that constructed and did an amazing job on this database. Nearly as good as a job as he's done with all the teams he's had. It's the main man, Dimble. How you doing, kid?
I am well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you very much. Just give a couple of little shouts. Stay right, early as he wants to go early. Haggis thinking, Mourinho, Tato thinking that Haggis are going to be the standout game of the night. Steve's asking to go early, but I've posted the lineup, Steve, on Twitter, and I'm conscious that people have got plans and things doing, so I'm going to stick to that as best I possibly can, ghost games permitting. Dimble, we're getting towards the business end of the season. Anything kind of really catching your attention at the minute or kind of sticking out?
I'm just focusing on my little slide down the table and worrying about that more than anything. But I love the fact that it's open for so many teams still. And yeah, I'm not catching burn now, but at least we know we can still give them a go in the final as well. So it's all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely, and credit to Edwards for what is essentially top spot for probably around about 80% of the season so far. That Northern Burn team, that Northern Burn club are fast becoming an absolute Super League dynasty now. And he got the first cue last night, so well done to yourself, Edwards, mate. Congratulations on behalf of everyone, really. And what I wanted to start with, Dimble, you kind of touched on it, was just very, very briefly to chat about kind of how your seasons went, but we don't really pay much attention to this graph. I don't think we've ever kind of brought it up, and I'm just conscious that kind of some of the stories of the season are really, really clear in this. So we look at Vikings, they've slowly but surely been on the march, and I think this is one of the best 11s that we've ever seen in the Super League, really. And since game week 13, they've really kicked on. What a job Jens is doing, Dims.
Yeah, top job from the top man. We create our own narratives, don't we, as we go along, but sometimes they're true, and Jens is getting that team together and climbing the table like that. He's building himself into another Manager of the Year contender just for the transfers and the job he's doing on the pitch. Yeah, class. And obviously, congratulations to Ian as well. I had a chance to congratulate him yet on the queue and the incoming league title.
Yeah, it looks ominous for Edwards, doesn't it? It looks ominous. And just like Jens, another fella doing a really, really good job for the first time ever, really, is Tato and his Badgers side, who look absolutely solid. They've got the most clean sheets in the league this season. I think the best defensive record along with yourselves in the league this season. And again, kind of tells the tale of his season. Bringing what Samwell was massive, but then the kind of reinforcements that he's brought in from game week 13 just kind of strengthened him a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't flop. The old Tato would have kind of, that little dip of form would have been the end of him, but he stuck to a game plan-ish. And they're my kind of team this year, Badgers. It's a we'll nick a goal or two, and we won't concede many. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of talk on Twitter over the last kind of 24, 48 hours really about Haggis, who've been ridiculously good this season and have never looked as though they've wavered from that top two. For the first time in, around about 9 game weeks, possibly 11 game weeks, they find themselves outside the top two. They've lost their last 3, although not looking bad in those defeats. Cause for concern or better to get the blip out the way now before the end of the season?
It's not a bad time to have a blip, and obviously they were overperforming anyway. It's not a bad time to have a blip. It's how you kind of slide out of that, and what I've found is it's not that easy sometimes once you get on that downward slope. I'm not doing anything differently, really. So it's hard to snap out of it, but if they can, then they're in a good position still.
Yeah, I think that's a great point around them generally. When you look at that squad from front to back, Campbell and Rocks have massively overperformed with the squad they've got. But they have there's been a decent amount of noise when they were on top. So we'll see kind of what happens with this dip if they can buck that downward trend. A couple others I just wanted to point out before we get straight into game one. We've got Gazelles, who I see Martin post today that it's kind of an insult to the league, really, that his own team finds themselves in the top 6, given how little they've scored and how poor they've been. But that kind of probably sums up Gazelles, really. They're a little bit up, then a little bit down, then a little bit up. But Dan and Martin will be a little bit concerned about the lack of goals.
Yeah, I kind of get what Martin was saying there, but was he having to get his own manager? Like, you're the team that's not scored those goals, so have you looked at your own things first before you start shouting at everyone else?
I think a little bit. I think a little bit of it was laced with, because I know Martin's a big fan of kind of innovation in the Super League and doesn't like that kind of dominance of 2-7-1, although doesn't disrespect it. I think he's kind of saying, the league's, we've scored so few because the league's become a little bit uniform in terms of tactics. Interestingly, kind of Dragons and Celtics are coming late. Dragons usually do. Celtics have really, credit to Greavesy from absolutely nowhere, has really put himself in the mix with a massive win against Dragons and then another one last night. Is Greavesy back?
But yeah, it looks like it. This is the Greavesy of old. I said on comms the other night. This is the Greavesy that went on that run when I first started watching. Didn't win loads of games, but he drew a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't lose any. So it's possible if he can carry on, then
Yeah.
there's an argument. If he makes the sixth, then there's definitely an argument that the Greavesy that we used to know is back. But he's been poor for a couple of seasons, so he needs to do something this year.
Totally agree.
He needs to finish the season strong, even if he doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, Bostock do what Bostock seem to always do, regardless of who their manager is. They start off well. We know that Scott has the best ever record across the 13 games at the start of the season and the worst across the last 13 games in terms of those kind of top tier managers. They've had their big wobble from game week 5 onwards, but then signs of optimism for Horse and Swanee.
Yeah, for Horse, yeah. I said Swanee, the best thing he did is just hiring Horse to do the work for him because he knows what he's doing. And he went on that mad unbeaten run. Didn't lose many games when he first took over at Leathersford. Yeah. Looks like he's doing the same again. He might lose tonight, but he's done a top job since he's come in, and they're only going to get better, in my opinion. So, yeah, they're another one to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if there's one thing you don't want to be playing against, because we don't really know how to counter it or how effective it is, it's a striker with a backward arrow. It's an absolute mindfuck, really, isn't it? And then just before we kick off, we've got Fulchester in the yellow there, who looked really impressive the first couple of games without being, they were getting results without being amazing. And then actually the flip side's happened over the last couple of weeks. They've had great performances, lots of shots, lots of opportunities, lots of text, but actually just haven't been able to turn draws into wins and turn defeats into draws. Is it a must-win tonight for them against Gazelles?
It's getting that way, isn't it? Yeah, it's getting that way. The performance has been there though, so you can't really kind of grumble too much. But Ryan's obviously very annoyed at it all.
Yeah,
but he's getting to must-win territory. Yeah, and maybe not this week, but in the next couple of weeks, he needs to really kind of kick on. Otherwise, he's going to be one of the worst returning winners of all time.
You've said it out loud now. You've put the pressure on him. And shout out to Alf coming back into the league, undefeated in 2. Another big game tonight against Astor, I think, with a chance to go 3 undefeated. Is this kind of old school Alf that sets his teams up that are hard to beat and just seems to get results, rather than maybe the Alf we've seen at the start of this iteration, who because of things he had on in his life and other things, kind of really wasn't in the right place? Is Alf Bridge back?
No.
no. It's gonna die. Is it like a damn squib?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then not to be too much of a dick, but obviously we know that White Rose and Astor have been pretty poor this season. What I would say though is Stay. I think the performances have been there for Stay in terms of the match stats. And what I would say to Mike is nobody ever does. Has there ever been a Super League manager, Dimble, that's came in and had an amazing first season?
Amazing. There probably has been. I think Campbell finished 6th in his first season, didn't he?
Oh, really? Yeah, Edwards is a bit of a mainstay. So Edwards, if you're picking up any of that, if you can let us know kind of who would be the manager in the first season that has stood out really and really done well. Jens saying Alf isn't back; he just never really left. Sounds a little bit creepy, but that's a fair point. He's always been kind of in and around the background. Which brings us, I think, without much further ado, we've been chatting for 15 minutes now, to our first game of the evening, which is the Tortuga Celtics against the Vikings. A massive game for both of them. Vikings could really kick on and probably secure a Q tonight if they get the win. Celtics would absolutely be pulling themselves above the dotted line, depending on other results, if they were to get it. Celtics now undefeated in 5. Or is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 3 wins on the spin, and this is how they go tonight. Anything that stands out for you with what Greavesy has done to have this resurgence, or has he just corrected the transfer market errors from earlier in the season?
Yeah, he's done a bit of that. He's done some good business. He's gone to a tactic, which I think is the tactic he had some success with in his first ever season, and he's got the French Ryan Giggs, hasn't he? So.
Yeah, who has been pretty good. A lot of people question bringing him in because of that AMFL kind of position. in terms of can you fit him in. You certainly cannot play him as a DML, but his stats look pretty good, especially those kind of key areas in terms of crossing, in terms of flair, in terms of long shots as well. I think he scored from a long shot the other night, potentially against Northern Burn. If they get the result tonight, if Vikings get the result tonight, who's going to let Greavesy down in this 11?
Takanadi.
Yeah, pretty weak link in the MC, and obviously plays Tomoti's back, so he plays out of choice rather than necessity. Let's go back to Greavesy and crack on. The Vikings, I think every stream from here on in is going to make reference, and I think you did the other night on Wednesday at Dimble, to this kind of almost like number 5 on the dice. This little kind of number 5 in the middle here, which looks absolutely dominant and has been dominant for a long time. Manages to keep Iron Robin on the bench for more or less the full season. And Luca Toni comes back in tonight, having been out for a little bit, but only having 2 goals. Vikings results-wise, 3 1-0s, 4 out of 5 1-0s. This does feel, talking to Greavesy, this feels like Locomotive Boston, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's ace, isn't it? That is ace. Completely controlling games as well, just like snuffing them out with that shield wall. Yeah, I love that. I got completely outplayed last night. Didn't really have any of the ball. So yeah, and I'm not a bad team. I'm not a good team, but I'm not a bad team. And completely snuffed me out. Yeah, respect to Jens for putting his faith in that, because the deals are all there to be done, but he's actually gone out and done it, hasn't he?
Absolutely, and cashed in on a big name in Penza, which I think it takes a brave man to do that, especially halfway through a season. Any predictions for you here, Dimble?
1-0 away win.
1-0 away win. I think this could be a score draw, but we'll see what happens as we get underway. Predictions in the chat if you've got any there. It's a penalty, and Mendieta continues his good run of form. I think that's 2-2 that he's had. Del Piero with another chance and a save from the top corner. Again, another chance for Vikings, and Celtics are under a little bit of pressure here. Text feels a lot red and blue heavy. Exteria goes in the back, but there Vieira gets a chance. And again, Del Piero. This feels very, very heavy. And there, with the momentum, is Mike Duff sending the Vikings 2-0 up, surely to secure their queue, unless Greavesy can work some magic via pre-arranged substitutes in the chat at half-time. Dimble, I sent you what Greavesy's instructions were. Would you mind just having a little bit of a look for me, if that's all right?
Oh, fuck it. Yeah.
Half-time, very, very dominant from the Vikings. And unlike previous games, they've gone 2-0 up rather than 1-0 up. Ratings-wise, we've got a 5 for Michael Owen. Greavesy fancied him to get a result tonight. Mike Duff pops up with a rare goal for Vikings, and not horrendous, but just not great. And I'm expecting that we're going to see some 8s and 9s already at half-time from the Vikings. Dimble, what do you reckon?
Probably, yeah. He got nothing at half-time as the instruction, something on 60, so I'll let you know at 60. They're going to look good, aren't they? Look solid.
Yeah, and Duff probably having his best game in a while. Cannavaro continues to impress. He's got a lot of goals this season from centre-half. And again, I think the biggest compliment I can pay Jens is this front three have not really done much over the last 5 games. Low passes, low headers, low shots. I know Del Piero's had 3 there tonight. But actually, it's goals from Mendieta, it's a goal from Vieira, from Serginho, from Duff, from Cannavaro. It's actually quite scary what Jens can potentially do in the summer if he wants to kind of improve those attacking options. Certainly doesn't look any worse off for losing in Penza. I think Steve Wright would probably agree. Jens, I'll just bring fitness up there. Happy birthday to Jens' son as well. And I hear they had a really successful birthday party, which is high stakes if you're a dad in it. Those birthday parties, Dims.
Yeah, we hosted the 5-year-olds a couple of weeks ago. Mental, absolutely mental.
Yeah, but it feels boss when you pull it off, though, doesn't it?
Where we had some dude dressed as Lego Batman and the Incredible Hulk in my sunroom.
Class.
It was a bit tricky.
Anyone scared of them, or were the kids all right?
Yeah, my daughter's like 18 months and she looks a bit shocked by it, but she got over it pretty quickly.
There is Michael Owen who comes into the game and scores. Greavesy said he fancied him to get a goal tonight, and absolutely out of nowhere, like classic logo Boston, Celtics might have just pulled themselves back into this game and back into the hunt for 6. If you could just have a little bit of a look at Greavesy's instructions for 60 minutes, Dims, while Jens just decides what he's doing. And then if you give me Greavesy's, I'll jump back to Vikings.
it's Paddy Powell for Takanadi.
Yeah.
And Guilherme onto the worst performing striker, which appears to be Owen. Or,
yeah, and we'll stick by that, even though he scored.
It's subjective, though, isn't it?
What? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that worst performance.
You said lowest performance, so yeah, stick with that.
Yeah. Okay. Were you the Hulk, Dimble? Says Horse.
No, but there's a profit to be made in it. We were trying to get a Spider-Man in, and there's no Spider-Mans in the northern Lincolnshire area. So if you want to make some money,
you've got to be quite like
get yourself a Spider-Man costume. Rent yourself off for an hour.
Who would be a decent Spider-Man in the Super League? Because you've got to be quite svelte, haven't you? You've got to be you've got to be in decent nick, basically.
Yeah, tall and fit. I think Jens is probably meeting Jens was he was taller and thinner than I thought he'd be. I thought he'd be a bit more chunky tall like me. But he was like that, A-frame.
Gattuso gets the red card, so we're just going to centralise Tomasi in Greaves' absence. And then Jens, you get a chance to make a change, although I suspect Ilguaz is here, Dimble, with the 2 EMCs and the 1 DM.
I'm not sure what he's going to do. I don't know. Spider
quick question. So there was some questions posted.
It might have been Alf in the Hulk costume. We don't know, do we? We just don't know.
Yeah, he never went away, did he? And we go on with Jens saying, as is, you just feel that Vikings might need, and there is a red card for Patrick Vieira, and that does change things ever so slightly. Jens with almost can see the red of the queue, but actually Patrick Vieira sees the red instead. Someone like Pamadou Carr coming on and kind of maybe go 2-4 Dims, or does he just drop Mendy at the back?
Drop Robin back. I think he can play there. Yeah, that's what I'd do. But I'm boring, so you might want to do something a bit more exciting.
Yeah, but you're also successful, mate. You cannot be entertaining and successful.
I've had no success.
Yeah, you finalist last year, lad. Don't put yourself down.
Is that success? I'll take so.
It. You got done by Segalgo, mate. I think, if you're going to go, you may as well go with the best striker in the game and the best team in the city.
I could just claim that.
Do you know what I mean? There was a quick question. There's loads of questions in on Twitter, some of which were massively inappropriate. Shout out to Smutter's question, which I laughed out loud at, but will not answer. If you could bring,
I thought for ages about that as well.
Say that again.
I was thinking about that for ages as well.
I know. I gave it too much thought. Carr for Mido and to Vieira's position, and that's it. Jens, if you just let us know if you want to centralise Robin or if you want to keep him there in that channel. If you could bring, I thought one of the ones that was really, really good, if you could put one player past or present into the database, into the 0102 build, who would it be and why? Did you see that one?
I did, yeah, and I couldn't get past my own name because I was like 2 months away from being in the next update. So that still haunts me to this day.
Yeah, it's heavyweight champion of the world, isn't it? Reverend in the Mega, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I could have been somebody.
Oh no, I wouldn't have been anybody, but I'd have been in it.
You'd been in it. That would be class. Yeah, everybody would have seen it. Everybody would have signed you. I think we'd have put you in the Super League. I think as well. Looks to be green and pink. Rossini, massive save from Elefropoulos, and kind of Oro heads it behind under a little bit of pressure. It's off the line of Tony. Another corner. This looks all to be a bit pink and green for the last 10 minutes, but here come the Vikings with a foul on Carr. Zanetti gets the book in. Can they put this one to bed and secure that queue depending on results elsewhere? Michael Owen concedes the corner. 4 minutes added on. Tomasi now. Is there a counter-attack? Tony gets in and Tomasi brings him down. Mendieta whips it in. Carr, handball for Robbins. Vikings just can't keep hold of this ball in the right areas of the pitch. There's got to be one more chance for one of these. They give it back via an offside. Guilherme, Rossini, Desai gives away the free kick. This is absolutely end-to-end. Elefropoulos is keeping the Vikings in this game for getting their cue. Okoronkwo, who's been heavy in the text. Guilherme, whose stats look really, really good. Extaburia hits a chance and he saves it and holds on. And you'd think, Dimble, that was a honestly brilliant second half, lads. Fair play. But you think with essentially a 12-point gap and only 4 games to play, it might not be official tonight, but that is more or less the Vikings with a queue.
Yeah, that's enough points, isn't it? Yeah, that's good. Congratulations, Jens, if he's watching. It's fucking what an achievement. I think it's the 4 seasons in a row he's made the playoffs, which is one of the records, isn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable.
which I am trying to equal, which might not happen. So he could be stood alone on that one.
Absolutely. And that was a great game to kick us off tonight. I think Michael Owen got his goal for Greavesy. Gattuso unfortunately got sent off, only to be followed by Patrick Vieira not too long later. And lots of 8s, lots of 7s in there for Greaves. And Vieira gets his first 5 probably in forever for the Vikings, with Elefthopoulos really keeping them in the game there. Not necessarily reflected in the stats, but lots and lots of saves in the match report. Congratulations to Jens on what is effectively a Q. I think we can say that. And to both managers on a great game to start us off with. Let me just check what we said our running order was next. Where are we at? We said we were going to go to PPP versus the mighty Asta. Let me just pull StreamYard back up so I can see the chat. And we go to the return of Alf Bridge, football scout, in case anybody didn't know, who has scored 4, conceded 1, and is unbeaten in 2 against 2 really good teams in the top 6 hunt. And this is how he goes tonight, Dimble. Scraps the wing backs and goes for wingers, which is not something I really remember Alf playing much in his time with us, although he did every now and again. And he's also rung the changes. His tweet said he went for a little bit more of an attacking lineup, and no Van Nistelrooy tonight being injured. Anything standing out for you in terms of what Alf's doing here?
I think there's a Scholl and Emerson partnership worked pretty well last week, didn't it?
Say that again?
Scholl and Emerson partnership worked pretty well last week, I think. Scholl did okay, 9.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks good. He looks a good Scholl for 32 anyway.
He looks all right. Saharan's AMC is terrible.
Yeah, I think
better on the left wing, which is
that's been said a lot on it about Sahar.
What's your thoughts on Emerson? Steve Finnan. Look how good Steve Finnan looks. It's looking class.
Look class, does he? Yeah, it looks really good. I'm surprised Steve let him go, to be fair. Thoughts on Emerson? I know you're a man who likes that kind of lone MC, although you've went to 2 MCs over the last couple of weeks, and quality MCs are really hard to find in the league. Certainly that perform anyway. What do you think about Emerson?
I've made a couple of inquiries about him, but I might as well be shitting in my own hands and clapping because he just doesn't respond, does he? Or if he does, he tells me to fuck off. So yeah, Emerson, if you want to send him my way, I'll take him. But
what do you do? DM him?
I don't think he's actually that good, though. I don't actually think he's that good.
Do you DM him on Twitter, or do you WhatsApp him?
I've got his WhatsApp now, so he used to send him a few audio files.
Yeah, definitely.
The
good thing is, like, he kind of hide from you when you're on WhatsApp because he can see he's online. So you just hurl abuse at him until he responds. Over to Mike Savage's Asta, who are on a horrific run of form, haven't scored in 4 and haven't won in it in a very, very long time now. Fair play to Mike. He came in, he committed to playing a particular way within the league. It hasn't worked out for him, and slowly we're starting to see, him kind of accept the consensus in the league, which is that you've really got to have arrows to be successful. Saying that, though, there are players in here that I never thought in a million years would ever be Super League quality. Gianna Cheddar being one, who has been fairly solid in a really tough season. Mike isn't watching tonight because he's away on holiday. If you were to give Mike Savage one bit of advice in a totally non-patronising way for next season, Dimble, what would it be?
I wouldn't give him any advice. I would just say just enjoy it and do what you think's right. Don't listen to any of these cunts.
Yeah,
but you are doing arrows wrong. You've done arrows, but you're doing it wrong, Mike.
Yeah, there we go. There's some advice. So what would you do? Arrows on the wing back and then maybe 2 AMs, just the standard 2-7-1.
I don't like it. I don't like it when all the midfield moves forward like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's just personal preference.
What was I saying there? Yeah, he's brought in Batistuta, who Ryan was absolutely buzzing to get rid of, to be fair. And he starts tonight. It's a good-looking Gabriel Batistuta, but I am the last person that you want to be giving him any compliments based on how he was for Dragons in Season 7. Absolute dog shit. Predictions here. PPP, if they win tonight, could really, especially with Celtics losing, could put themselves in that hunt depending on the Gazelles' results. Any predictions?
Yeah, it's one of them that PPP should win, so I predict an away win because that's usually what happens when they usually get ahead of steam, it goes away. So I think Asta are going to sneak it.
I think Asta haven't won in 13 or 14 now, I think. something like that. It's a while. So it would be a massive, massive upset. And I think Rob has tried to bring Alf in to take the fall for PPP falling away, but actually he's done the opposite and showed Rob for the shambles of a man that he is.
Yeah.
A lot of red and blue. And there is Alan Shearer, struck from 30 yards. PPP keep that one workabout. And there is Fiore. It's 2-0 Astor Athletic. If this is the way the first two games have went, we're in for a decent Saturday night stream. PPP trying to create, but just haven't done anything with it. But lots and lots of chances. That'll be massively frustrating. Alf said he wanted to go attacking, and he did. But it's actually Astor Athletic who, for the first time this season, and Savage will be kicking himself that he's not here, is they are ahead 5 from Molina. Is he their regular keeper, or has Alf decided to play him? No, he is. Yeah.
He's played quite a lot. Nick McTullen fell out with him, didn't he?
He did. He chucked in a 4 or 5, didn't he? Babel not having a great game there at centre half. And in contrast, there is Astor Athletic. So Mike's subs were a little bit more complex. So while we just wait for Alf to text through, I'm going to look at that. And I'm going to pose you one of the questions from Rox, who is massively committed to these questions. Would you rather live in a house made of meringue, which you can eat, but if you do, has to be filled within 2 hours by homemade ones? Shop bought ones will cause the house to collapse. So you've got sustenance, but it's got to be self-sustenance. Or drive a car powered by tram's piss, which is cheap but requires finding tram's piss. Public transport is available.
Not a fan of either, but I think I hate meringue more than tram's piss. So I'll go for the tram's piss.
Okay, based on what Savage has said, I mean, this is how much confidence he had in the side. 5s and under to be subbed at half time. That's literally his first instruction. Alf says as is, and so we crack on. I think I would go with the tram's piss powered car and just get public transport. So I think I do. Emerson, there he is. He's been slated by Dimble in the early part of the stream and actually puts his side back into this and potentially back into the hunt for the top 6. 2-1. Emerson gets a goal. The outfield aren't really playing that bad. Nicky Butt is busy, but winning his battle anyway with that 9. Are you doing anything here with your Alf?
I don't think you are. No, who's got on the bench? Lampard. No, I don't think I'll bother. I think Scholl. There's no point in putting Lampard on for one of them two. Del Vecchio maybe for Sahar, but apart from that, I think I prefer Del Vecchio, to be honest.
Yeah, or maybe Del Vecchio for Palermo and Sahar up top. I don't know. Maybe he'll do something like that.
They're creating. They're in the match, creating chances. Got a goal back, so I won't be panicking.
Okay, let me just work this out. Okay, so he's got Boom in there, and Locatelli. He's on top. He says 6s and condition at 60. Discretion. But I don't think with 2-1 up, I don't think there's any reason for me to be changing anything in there because there's nobody really playing that bad. Let me just jump back to fitness. Martin Palermo struggling on 84% there. Alf. Rox is saying, I imagine the smell of meringue would eventually render a Ludovicio response out of fear every time someone cracked an egg. Also, your food would probably taste slightly meringue. But I think you'd end up with diabetes as well, Rox, to be fair. I'm not sure how much... there's Rob. What a Tory he is. Is it a French or an Italian meringue? It's a meringue, right? With his beer pump machine in his kitchen, and he's honestly... He's a joker. He's going Del Vecchio for Palermo as a straight swap. And we're going to crack on to see if PPP can keep their season alive. A lot of gold and blue there, but here come PPP. West, who tries to clear the ball, but Smith gets a volley in on Dudek. Shearer now. Batistuta had a dip, but he missed. Fast approaching the 80-minute mark, and we will slow it down, or we won't. There is Victor with a rebound from Molina. The keeper has really let them down tonight. Maybe we will slow it down. There is Donny with his first ever goal for PPP. It's 3-2. Astor Athletic could really get their first win in what is over a dozen games if they hang on. The clock ticks away. This is what Savage will be wanting to see on the replay when he watches in the morning. Smith lose control. Scholl crosses. Sahar. Dudek saves and holds onto the ball. Pinucci with a 1-2 West. West to Ehiog. Van Bommel, Sahar's nicked in there. Delvecchio, Dudek, he had an absolute stinker of a game last time out, but Jerzy Dudek has had a double save to deny Alan Smith and also Louis Sahar and make sure that Mike Savage, currently on holiday, probably having a lovely time with his missus in the hot tub, gets their first win in over a dozen games. But Alfbridge has again turned in a performance, maybe not a result, that is fairly impressive. Paid us straight in, saying up the Arrows, 4 from Molina. Absolutely terminal, that. I think it'll be a long time until we see him again. Is it just me, or has Rob got a really bad record with keepers in this game?
Yeah, he's got. You
know, like Jens has got a really bad record with strikers. I've got a really bad track record with centre halves. Jens is strikers. I'm centre halves, and Rob's keepers. I don't know if that's like a thing.
Come and see me, Rob or Alf. I've got a couple spare for next season if you want one for a good price. Obviously, I'm not a mug.
Don't be giving David Day away. I want to chat to you about him. But we never really get anywhere, and then you don't like us for 3 weeks after we've had negotiations. So,
especially when you got your assistant Muppet messaging me. Did he tell you about that?
Mate, he's not the assistant of anything. 20 minutes before the window closed.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's just don't listen to him, mate. I've done it for the last 13 years of friendship. Bohm gets a 6 and 8 all round, and really, really well done, Savage. I don't think anyone's going to begrudge him that win, because it is incredibly frustrating when you're down there. And that is the second really, really top quality game of the night. Well played. Dims, I'm just going to check the running order, but I'm going to fire another question your way.
Congrats to Mike. He's had a bit of a tough run, and he probably didn't deserve all the stats there, but it's one of them where you take it every time. He's probably outplayed a couple of teams as well and not got anything, so it all eventually comes round.
Absolutely. Dims, if you had to murder another Super League manager to keep your family alive, who would it be and why?
I mean, I like them all, obviously, but it would be this time, right now, it would be Swan, just because I'm fearing the next release of stats with my poor form.
I think it's going to be pretty bad. Talking of Bostock Stanley, or Bostock Swanley, or Horsestock, whatever you want to call them.
Who are you murdering, by the way? Just throw it back at you.
Who would I murder? I reckon I would probably murder. I don't know. It's a really tough question. I like whose answer was stay, because he'd probably just once he knew the reasons, he'd agree and let you do it.
I thought about Steve as well. So you probably do it, and it'll just make it look like natural causes.
So just have a nice beer and then pop them off. Bostock Swanley or Horstock Swanley, the artist formerly known as the like Prince. They've had more names than they've had Super League matches. They're unbeaten in 5, but Horse and Swan are pretty convinced they're going to lose tonight. He's been forced into a couple of fairly radical but horsey style changes with Wilfred Brahma playing in MC, which means he's going to clock a 10 and get a hat trick. Crespo with the backward arrow, Svensson and Junior, who are probably the least fancied wingers in the Super League, but Horse is doing his thing and will get a result out of them. This almost like, have you seen The Last of Us, Dims?
Yes.
You watch The Last of with that like little mushroom fungi thing. Horse is like that at Bostock, innit? It's kind of like he's in, and every week it gets a little bit more horsey. This 11. Have you chatted to him about any players he might want to release or like going to get rid of in the summer?
Yeah, we had a few chats actually.
How are those going? Because he's being very guarded with me.
Yeah. He knows. I know a couple of players that he likes. He knows a couple of players that.
Yeah.
And we're not got to any point yet. There was a good offer made for Montello, which he turned down in the end, which is fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
A couple more I think we'd have done if we'd had a couple more deals, maybe. But yeah, it's one of them. I think we'll do something in the summer.
Yeah, he's being evasive with me, which never really bodes well. He's too nice a lad to say, fuck off, there's nothing I want from you. But at the same time, keeps giving us some hope. Kind of like me with Boya, with you, mate. We go over to Northern Burn, who are by far and away the strongest side this season. They do make a little bit of a rotation based on some suspensions coming back in. What I found really, really interesting was he's liked Beckham in that MC position over the last couple of weeks. But Makaleli last game did well for him and retains that MC spot, although he was playing at DM last game. Zielius comes back in, and also George Atos in for the suspended Roberto Carlos. Just real. Team is wrong. Okay, hang on. Is it Hupia and Montero that I've got the wrong way around? 2 seconds, mate. Glad I spotted that. Anything to say about Northern Burn there, Dims, while I'll just check?
Yeah, interesting to see the Makalele in MC role. It's interesting. I think Beckham's days are numbered at Northern Burn, aren't they?
Sorry. Saviola, I think, up top, isn't it? He's is that the one, Edwards? You just confirm, mate. Is that better? That's my bad. Just totally not even acknowledging that he might just be keeping Sigalko fresh for the running. They did get beat off Badgers, but again, it was a much weakened Northern Burn side with that kind of spine being missing. Jeremy's continues to not be fully fit. But ahead of that, they had went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 without defeat. 11 without defeat. Anything you can say that hasn't already been said?
No, not really. I mean, I get to talk about it once every couple of weeks now, and I've said enough nice things about Ian. I'm a bit jealous that he's in the position he's in, but he's earned it. That's for sure.
And yeah, I think fair play to him as well for, he stuck. He had a principal position in that transfer window, and Edwards loves a transfer as much as all of us, but stuck to it. Stuck a flag in the ground and said, "This is me for the rest of the season." And whereas some teams have really improved and some teams have really regressed, he's just trusted what he's done. And
it's hard to stick with the same and get better results. It's not easily done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also, I think another thing is that feeling of when, the league is moving, when people in the league are moving and you look and, this person brought in that person and shit, that means they're going to play 4 across the middle. And
you know for a fact it had been killing him seeing some of the deals being made and players that he would have liked that he wasn't making offers for. He'd have killed him inside a little bit, but he's come out of it stronger, as strong as he was anyway. So yeah, it's not going to be an issue for this season.
It takes big balls in a season of unlimited transfers to say, actually, lads, not me. So we did have a ghost game, so I do apologise, lads. We're going to come to you last now, but we do go over to our good mate, Steve Wright, who, I've said it a lot, but has probably been the unluckiest manager this season. He got absolutely battered off you, so that wasn't necessarily unlucky. But I think 7 of his last 8 games, he's had most of the chances, but just hasn't got over the line other than against a really poor Dragon showing. Where do you think it's gone wrong for Steve this season? We obviously talk to him quite a lot. We hear a lot about his plans and his tactics and all that sort of stuff. But where do you think it's gone wrong?
It's hard to put a finger on it. He's always got one player in the team. He seems to always have one player in the team that you're not sure on. Like right now, it's Flo. I know you got a good debut and stuff like that, but he always seems to play like 10 of his strongest players and one weird choice. But apart from that, I can't really say. Tactically, I don't think he's doing anything differently. I've not spoken to him in depth about it. I don't think he's doing much different. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I think because he had that run and won it, I think he's thinking, well, if I play this tactic and these players, it'll work, but maybe it won't.
Yeah, and I think that goals for and against, it looks fairly high, but there's teams in the top 6 that have scored less, and there's teams, just in the chase and pack that have conceded more. So it is a bit of a strange one. Over to our friends in the north who've been class this season, but do find themselves on a little bit of a wobble. They've been really, really good for the majority of the season. Third highest goal scorers in the league, and have only just, with the results that have went against them, have lost that amazing defensive record that they had, although it's very, very impressive nonetheless. They've overperformed absolutely, and credit to them. Here's a question for you though, Dimble. If you're Haggis and Rocks and you're playing this formation next season, where is it that you're looking to upgrade?
Right wing and a striker. I think everything else is fine. I mean, AMC is a bit of you're just changing kind of shit for shit, aren't you? Really, none of them really play that well. So if you can get a good AMC, then fair enough. But yeah, my priority for them would be right winger, another top striker if they can get one. But they've got about 8 that play pretty well. So Nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, I was just having a little look there. I'm kind of thinking, does Amoroso drop in? I don't know what he is in the MC because he's an FLC, isn't he? And then kind of go balls deep for a right winger and two big men. But I thought Klimovich has looked good stats wise, and also kind of he really got off well. Don't think he's had a much of a say the last couple of games.
Yeah, they've got
Massive
that nice rotation of strikes, haven't they? They bring something in for 5 or 6 games. When they start dropping off, they replace them with another one, and it seems to work.
Yeah, and again, fair play to them. That's it. They've backed that this season, and it's massively paid off for them. And shout out to the Latin Wall as well, which is class. Big game for both clubs for different reasons. Do Haggis need a win here?
Yeah, they've got a very strong home record. They should win. I think they will win. I think it's going to be 2-0. I'll forget a drink.
Yeah, of course, mate, no worries. And we kick off the first half with Haggis having a lot of the possession. And there is Amoroso again. He's been absolutely bang on top of it this season. I think that's his 10th goal of the season so far. A lot of Haggis in the text. Is that a penalty? It's a penalty. Amoroso gets his second inside the first quarter of the game. And White Rose are really up against the early doors. But there is Mpenza. Steve Wright needed to see that. He's been waiting to see that for a long time. Double chance there. Flo with a save, or save against Flo, and nobody following up to put it in the back of the net. Haggis under a little bit of pressure for the first time this half. Again, Mpenza fisted away. Say that again?
What happened there?
Yeah, massive. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. And now it's 4-1. And just about everybody we mentioned there, Amoroso, Scholes, Klimovich, in terms of things that they might be looking to move around or rotate in the summer, they turn up for Haggis. And for the first time in a while are absolutely clinical. And it doesn't look like Haggis are going to go 0 for 4 at the minute. Amoroso, what's your thoughts on Amoroso? Because I always had him down as a bit of a home save bully. I never thought you could do it in the Super League, but what do I know?
He was on my list. It was the out of league draft, wasn't it? Right at the very start, he was on my list. He was my second choice. Yeah, so I'm a fan, but I'm surprised how well he's doing. That's for sure. He's not one I expected to do that well. That's for fucking sure. Look how good he's been. It's been amazing,
especially in a 2. Rumours of our fucking demise have been greatly exaggerated. A bit like how good you were, mate. I think your manager's been greatly exaggerating how good you were. So in the world of karma, that probably balances itself out, to be honest, lads. Can you imagine if Edwards had the gob that Campbell did? Fuck, honestly. Haggis are sticking, and White Rose are probably they're going to stick. They're going to stick. Is that the white flag from Steve, you reckon?
A little bit, yeah. He's probably just.
I'm surprised at that.
He's pretending that he's listening to his missus, probably.
Yeah. More text for Haggis and a little bit more for White Rose. You've got to be. Are they back in the game? That is interesting. Amoroso could have had a hat trick there, but puts it just wide. We go over at the Haggis boys. They really like that Figo sub around about this point in the game. So I'd be really surprised if we don't see Figo for Camps or a little bit of a shift round in this midfield. But I do wonder if Rox has maybe had his wings clipped a little bit after, I think, feeling as though he kind of handed the Dragons away back into the game last night with these changes. So we go over to the White Rose tactic as well. Steve said it was a white flag. Does he go one at the back here, Dimble?
He usually would.
He's chucking in a 5 anyway, isn't he? So Rox is saying swap Amoroso and Klimovich.
There'll be about 8 other instructions here, won't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Rox, just put it in one message and then say thank you at the end.
Medina for Klim and stick him MC. And Steve, if you could just let us know what you want to do there, mate, while we're just waiting on Rox's subs coming through. Just keeps the show ticking along quite nicely. Could be a massive chance missed there for Amoroso. Figo for Camps, we called it. There's a bit of bingo. Just while we're waiting on this, one of Rox's more interesting questions, I mean, they were all interesting, but did you see the one about the songs? He asked me to rate 4 songs in order.
I didn't know the songs, I've got to be honest. So
you didn't know the song? Dims. I think you've shown yourself up a little bit there, mate.
I mean, I'm quite into my music, but no, I'm not. I didn't know those, so I apologise for my.
So Rox, I did a little bit of digging pre-stream, and I was going to start the stream with St Elmo's Fire because I think that's the best. I think the bridge in Cuddly Toy lets it down. Sledgehammer, me and Wooda went to the Super Cup final against Chelsea in Turkey, and that song came on about 5 times on Spotify. So I hate it as a result. And then what was the other one? Hold the Line. It's not Total's best song, is it? Although I know Rock stinks that. So whereas is for Steve, and we go to 60, we'll slow it down if White Rose manage to get another goal. Scholes with a chance and it's saved. Lasisi hits it and deflects it wide. He's on that 5. Can he turn it round? Free kick. Amoroso puts it over. How many chances is he going to have by the end of the 90 minutes? Figo again getting amongst it. He's been a real impact sub for Haggis this season. Offside for Kaladze. Haggis get it back. We're not going to slow it down. Giggs unmarked. It's been a while since he scored, actually, Giggs. To be fair, now his name's popped up. Offside position. White Rose were just too much to do since going 4-1 down just on the cusp of half time. And that is an absolutely large 3 points, as Ian Campbell himself has said. And then in response, beating 13th isn't massive, Ian.
Large and massive are different things, aren't there? But yeah, I get both points, if I'm being honest here.
Absolutely. Amoroso with not his first and probably not his last 10 of the season. 7 shots on target. That is 7 shots, sorry, in two on target. That is absolutely massive.
He's a bit of a freak in the save, isn't he? Like he's so much things happen around him. It's unreal.
I don't think I've ever seen someone have 7 shots in a game. Genuinely. I don't think I've ever seen that. You watched
Luciano Martin Galetti's pre-season cup performance then, did you?
How many did he get?
But yeah, it's a hell of an effort. The tactic is feeding the strikers and they are doing the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We are going to go to Special Gazelles against Bolton Phoenix next. This is what you would absolutely have every day of the week and twice on a Sunday as a 6-pointer. We'll go to the home team first. Gazelles, as we've said, have been a bit up and down this season, not really managed to put a good run together for a long time or kind of kill off a bad run early enough. They've scored it was 0.8 goals per game when Martin put his tweet out today. This is how they go tonight, playing that kind of trident formation, the burn formation. Is there anything, let me rephrase that question, why are they scoring so few?
Oh, it's the league's fault. We're all being too defensive. We should all apologise to Gazelles. Okay,
that will do. That is very succinct punditry. It's what we like. Fulchester Phoenix. This is how they go. They make a couple of changes with a couple of players coming in. So Nikolai comes in, Nedved comes back into AMC. And I think also Stam returns after having a couple of games on the sidelines. He's playing this kind of almost egg box-esque formation. With 3 DMCs that could arguably do the job by themselves or as a 2. Why have Fulchester, they've not scored as few, but why are they struggling to take chances at the minute, Dims?
Manager's a bit of a dinosaur, isn't he? That's part of the problem.
Yes. Chuck a couple of hand grenades in there, mate.
It's interesting. It's different. He's not the same league. He had so many gimmies when he was in the league before. Every game, or most games, are competitive in this league now. He's not got as good a squad as he did when he was at Phoenix, but I think he'll get there. Whether it's this season or next season, Ryan's a top manager and he will come definitely. We should be scared if he gets unlimited transfers again, which he probably will do. Yeah, I think we should be scared.
Just in the context of the league. Obviously, results as it stands, the game thinks it's all draws at the minute. But we've seen Celtics lose. Stanley's a ghost game. We haven't got the Dragons yet, and we haven't got the Cosmos yet. A win tonight for Fulchester would jump them potentially 5 or 6 places, depending on results elsewhere. But a loss would pull Gazelles away from that chase and pack. What are you going to go for, Dimble?
I want a draw. I need a draw. I want a draw.
Yeah, I do too, mate. I think we need a draw. Yellow card for Simeone, I think, went into the book there. Donovan with a chance. Looks to be a bit Gazelles heavy in these first 25 minutes. Totti with a shot off the wall. Hussein gets a chance. Davids with a foul. Looks as though Fulchester are fouling quite a bit and trying to stop Gazelles. And there is Totti, who was played in striker last game and goes back. And there is 2-0.
Wow.
Adilson puts Gazelles 2-0 up. Oh, and there is Alex.
Game
from
on.
Absolutely
Game
nowhere.
on. It's like
Absolutely
when Rocky Frank lands that punch at the end of round 1. That
yeah, and that's just enough to give Ryan a little bit of hope in what has been a pretty dire first half, chances wise. Rakelmi and Nedved really letting him down. Simeone letting him down. Gamora letting him down. That is absolutely abysmal. And probably can only get better second half.
Oh, you can't get much worse than that. There's key players on 5s. That's not good. Yeah, I mean, he's had one shot on target. He's had one shot at the end of the half. So hopefully that was a wake-up call, something to build on and all that stuff. But yeah, it was pretty poor.
Absolutely. I haven't seen Dan or Martin in the chat. Do let us know if you're here, fellas. I expect if they were here, they would go as is. It's kind of high stakes time of the season, so I'm just going to give Ryan just probably a minute or so longer than I normally would to make changes, because these are teams in the chasing pack. So I think it's only right if they're serving up probably the best ever chase for 5th and 6th that we've ever had, that we do give them a little bit of time. I'll do the same when it comes to your game, Dims, as well. What would you be doing here? Do you maybe go 4 across the middle or 2 up top? Nikolai, the downgrade from Vieri to Nikolai is absolutely massive, and maybe that's the reason why they're not creating as much. What would you be doing here, Dims?
Yeah, it's the DMC's up to MC for me would be the call. There's not much on the bench, is there really? Nakata's not bad. He might stick Dyer in AMC and Nakata right mid. That could work, but not loads of options. Nakata on Seal.
If you can just let me know if you want to keep that shape, Dims. Oh, there we go. Dims, sorry, Ryan. Davids and Simeone to MC. Oh. There we go. And if you could just give us a that's okay or that's good, mate, just so I don't hit start. I haven't seen the Gazelles boys in the chat.
No, I think he had plans, didn't he? So he's not signing instructions.
But you wouldn't be changing much here anyway, would you?
No, sometimes I think it's better if you just don't change fuck all. I mean, look how what Burn do. Yeah.
Oh, there's one. Ryan has put Hidetoshi Nakata onto MR and Kieran Dyer into AMC.
I like
it.
What do you
think about that, Dims?
Dyer's not really an AMC, but I like Nakata better out wide, and Dyer could still do a good job. Yeah, I like that move.
Oh, and who's just saying that is an absolute dagger in the heart of Fulchester Phoenix. Cisse hits the woodwork. What a game this is. Dyer hits it over. We jumped to 65 minutes. I was too busy reading the commentary. I'm just going to pull up what Gazelles have done. And just so for the boys coming back. And then I probably should have went to Phoenix first, to be fair. Sorry, Rai. Oh, Sebastian Freer with a 4. That is an absolute killer at this time of the season. And it's not what you want to be seeing. Kieran Dyer on 79% in AMC as well. It's so unlike Ryan, it's untrue. But does he go 1 at the back? Does he put 3 up top? Does he do something a little bit mental here, considering he's 3-1 down and in the chase?
I mean, I'd definitely take Dyer off, because the game's probably gone. I don't know. Has it gone? You don't want one of your best players getting injured with 5 important games coming up.
Yeah, and when Dyer does get injured, it's never a small injury as well, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's never a couple of days. It's always a big one if he gets an injury. Hasn't got much on the bench though, has he? It would mean Southgate and maybe, Yeah,
that's what I was just looking at. You got nothing to bring him on there.
I think he's ready to stick. They've created 2 more chances since half time, but that third goal really has killed the momentum they built with just that goal just before the half time. That is on 79. Yes, mate. Yes, he was on 79% fitness. Where's he at? 79% fitness.
He's probably all right.
I think he'd be all right now. We're at 68, aren't we? Shivu tries to get it in. Stam. Davids with a booking. Nedved trying to get in there. We're not going to slow it down. Banana strike and wide. And what a massive result for the Special Gazelles, and what pressure that puts onto you, Dimble, and also Dragons and Bostock as well. Gazelles scored 3, probably for the first time this season. Martin's about. Hello, Martin, mate. Massive result when you needed it. And I would love to chat to them about whether they've changed anything in terms of the tactic file, because that was a different Gazelles and a different tactic file submitted. Patrick Anderson with a man of the match, and really good performances all round. And unfortunately for Phoenix, Sebastian Frey's massively let them down, but also some big hitters there in terms of Simeone and in terms of Pavel Nedved, who's a massive player for him. Anything to add there, Dims?
Not really, no. Yeah, it's disappointing for Ryan, but congratulations to the Gazelles team. I think, yeah, they look good again, don't they? Which is worrying because they were a good team on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does look now with that Haggis win, it does look as though if Badgers can get the job done against Dragons, that it is this clump that are gonna kind of be chasing it out and slugging it out. Tato, how's he doing? Joyce's eyes pretty much shut, but is he on top? What's the kind of crack? We are going to go to Badgers versus Dragons, and this is how the Badgers go. They make a couple of changes. Sosa comes in up top, and Brozek comes in for who was that? Gustavo Lopez, and Van Petter in for Ricardinho. Any thoughts on Badgers this season and kind of why they've done a little bit better than they normally do?
There's nothing I know for sure, but it seems like he's been a bit calmer with stuff. He's got good players. Although looking at that team, it doesn't look very good, does it? Apart from your back.
Yeah, I said one the other day.
It doesn't look that good, so yeah.
Maybe I said one the other day. He's kind of cracked that thing that I definitely believe in, which is that the tactic file is more important than the personnel. If you get the tactic file right, you're going to be flying regardless of how poor or good the personnel look. Zero on 87%. Is that a worry for you? Are you kind of a fitness as a myth kind of guy, or?
It's not a worry for me at all, but it should be a worry for Tato.
Tato, I didn't spy that. You've got 4 foreign players in your 11 in your matchday squad. Who's the fourth? Scally. Was Scally an out of league draft? No. Who's the fourth? 1, 2, 3.
I can't see behind my head.
Is it
the one there? No.
Who is it?
Sosa. Keeper. Yeah, they got Sosa hidden behind my head.
Oh yeah, Sosa. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, okay, spot on. And we go over to the Dragons, who just make the one change with Roy Keane coming in for Asana and Dai. Tactic failed says Dragons are dead surely from a couple of weeks back because we have been so piss poor. Where have Dragons got it wrong this season, Dimble?
I mean, yeah, I think I said the other night on comms, I think the difference at the moment is probably the Ronaldinho who had this year compared to last year, and Constantino has been a disappointment as well. But beyond that, not a massive amount. You've not. I don't think he was ever going to recapture the form from the end of last season. I never thought he'd fly out the blocks this season and kind of finish top or anything like that. But I was expecting a bit more consistency from me, that's for sure.
Yeah, we never start well, but it was really, really poor. Shout out to Ndai, who's been absolutely fantastic, but he's probably going to go and not play even half of the season, which I know I've said it a lot, but if you ask me, that is kind of where I think we've been let down this season. I am absolutely shitting it because this is massive with that Gazelles results. Any predictions, Dimble?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring draw, 1-1.
Low-scoring draw, 1-1, and we'll have a little look at what is going on. Casillas had to have a save there from Constantino early doors, and Dai hitting it over the bar. Roberto crossing it in. It looks a little bit end-to-end, which is exactly... Say that again?
Joyce is
stopped by the doctor.
Yeah. Can't see out of his eye.
Wow. I fucking hate streaming and being on comms, mate. It's been your side.
Oh, do you want me to? No, I'll just say what's happening on telly if you want. I was going to say something racist there. I'll leave that to Twitter.
Yeah, I'm glad you've stopped that. Reyes hit the side net and it looked very much. Oh Jesus Christ, Dragons! What?
Was that
get the half time? Yeah, the Dragons have absolutely battered him. But haven't taken any chances. Who's had the shots? Ronaldinho hasn't put them away. There is the Badgers. Van Petter not doing well as that second MC. Sosa only having one touch of the ball. Looks like Keenan and Dyer maybe doing their job there. Ambrosini on a 6. Yeah, a lot of blue text for one chance. I think Rox is absolutely right there. We're not going to make a change. I don't think we can really with those match stats, and neither is Tato. So we roll until 60. Come on, Dragons, put a chance away here, please. Booking for Dragons. We get to 55 minutes. I'm just conscious that I need to stop it on 60. And there is Nesta with an injury. Just puts his season from bad to worse. We bring on Hagen.
That'll do for the 60-minute changes, I reckon. No?
Yeah, I think so, actually, mate. Yeah, go on then. And we're going to go Reyes for Ronaldo as well. And we'll go Boya for Gerrard just to protect that yellow card. Couple of changes for Dragons there. We're going to kind of use all three at once. One enforced, but two out of choice to try and just kind of give someone a chance to put the ball in the back of the net. Let's go over to Badgers. Those front three or four players, struggling to really do much. Midfield's been a little bit poor for him tonight. Condition-wise, it's a myth, according to Tato, but Roberto on 70%. Casillas doing well again. Yeah, he's been great. And it was Dragons that sold him to Badgers as well for Ugo Ehiog, who is at Aston now. So Badgers have definitely got the kind of right end of that deal, I think. What are you doing if you're Tato here, Dims?
Sosa will come off because he usually changes his strike on 60, doesn't he? Viduka's been shit though, hasn't he? Really, I don't know. There's not much he can do. I think you just cling on and hope for a draw. I think
it's a really attacking bench. I'll give him that credit. I know Tato always likes to have an attacking bench, so fair fucks to him. Do you maybe put Shevchenko on for Sousa and bring on like a Lopez or a Reyes in that AMC position?
Yeah, he could go two up top. Like I think he went two up top last time, or when I was on stream of the night, whatever. But he put Shevchenko in AMC, so he could put Viduka and someone up front.
Viduka on for Brozovic. I was just about to say it was silent from Tato, so it must be a big change. Up with Sousa.
Yeah, Sheva behind an arrow worked the other day, didn't it?
Yeah, I think there's going to be heartbreak for one of us, I think, here, mate. I think there's going to be a sucker punch coming. There is blue text there. We're going to slow it down. Sousa tries to be Keane, 2 feet, and there is a red card for Roy Keane. Another news, water is wet. What do we do here? Fuck's sake. We're going to go Gerrard on for Ndiaye. I think that's what we're going to do. And over to Tato. It is a red card, and I have remembered, so he does get a change in exchange. Sorry, mate.
It's tough to remember those things, isn't it? Like, especially when you're trying to stream and manage at the same time.
Yeah. I can't remember who it was I played. Like, it was one of my early streams, and we got 2 sent off, and it was just the maddest formation that I ended up with, and arrows all over the shop because my head had just absolutely went.
I've got to say, it's knocked me off my stride in management terms, like just the streaming bit and all that stuff.
Definitely, and my record is really poor. I think when I've streamed, I think I've only won twice. I think while streaming, Shevchenko Bishkan with a foul. Bishkan gets a foul now, free kick. Roberto, he's on the pitch. Bayer keeps the Dragons in the game, and Dyer heads the ball clear. Dragons having to sustain a little bit of pressure at this late stage. Arca with a low cross. Ronaldo gets past Campbell. Sliding tackle for Samuel. Penalty. It's got to be a penalty. What? That's got to be a pen.
I didn't see it.
Oh, that is an absolute killer. The text screamed penalty. Badgers are going to score now. Cafu. Come on, Cafu. Ambrosini with a yellow card. Free kick. Ronaldinho is going to shoot. Ronaldinho, Campbell, Hagen. Scally cuts out the pass, lobs it forward. Soso into Viduka, offside. Constantinu puts it wide. Walter Samuel, and that is a very entertaining nils each. Not the worst thing in the world, but I tell you what, how the hell the Dragons didn't get a penalty there? That is ridiculous. Ronaldo jing past Campbell. Samuel snapped him, took the man rather than the ball, turned down the penalty appeal. What a fucking piss take that is. Fuck off. Well played, Tato. Well played. If we're going to do 0-0, then we may as well do it that way. Neil Scally playing a great game, even though he doesn't get the rating result, but he's actually taking the midfield over there. Walter Samuel, who's been an absolute beast, probably the best centre-half in the league this season, Dims.
He's class, and he's such a class, that lad. I would love to have my team, but I would never want to pay the price that would be asked.
I know, mate. You'd have to sell your 2 children, I think, to get them. Dragons with a lot of yellow cards and a lot of a red card for Roy Keane. I think that'll be Roy Keane and Lee Bowyer suspended for tomorrow's game, which could be again another 6-pointer against Bostock Stanley. Asana and Dye follows up his 5 9s on the spin with an 8 and a man of the match performance. Felt like that was a little bit of a entertaining nils each, even though the stats didn't quite reflect it.
Yeah, and we've got the neutral comms comment there from Dan, but at least he gave some analysis to the other side, unlike Ryan last night, who stormed off like a little girl.
Yeah, Tato is one clean sheet off the record. That is 13, and that is absolutely something to be applauded. Rox is putting us under some peer pressure for some questions. And also, I tell you what I think is ironic as well. Fun Tato would be turning in his grave at the tactic and the formation that serious, successful Tato's playing. I love how he's had to kind of surrender everything he holds dear about Champ to be successful at it. It's class.
Ryan didn't stop me. He's playing to the crowd. So
he played to the crowd.
He might have been playing to the crowd, but he didn't analyse the Bostock performance. That's for sure. I remember that.
Dimble, how many TVs do you have in your house?
2. No, 3.
Yeah, I thought about that question, and I think we don't really have TVs anymore. I've got one in Italy, one in the spare room, but it's mostly like streaming on phone and stuff. That brings us to Cosmos against Casuals, which is our penultimate game of the evening because of the ghost game with Bostock and Burn. Dimble, this is your side. Talk us through it, mate.
I kind of said the other night, I'm bored of the lone MC not working and the right AMC being shit. So this was my solution. And I'm quite happy with it, to be honest. I think it will work given time, but I don't think it might not work in time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, it's one of them. It's having the balls to stick with it, even though it's not quite going your way, even when you believe in it. I think Rui Costa should do really well there. Vogel should do really well next to him. I think it's got the right balance. It might look a bit wonky, but I think it's got the right balance.
Yeah, I think that you can see what the logic is. You get 2 up and then 1 man running on, and if there's any more knock, and you kind of take them with them. I think your wingers are good if they've been a little quiet. Milewski, Lussenhoff, kind of that issue that I know you've kind of tossed and turned with. Lussenhoff didn't play particularly well.
He did really well, then he did really shit. So I just thought I don't want to drop him after an 8. He's pretty solid. Yeah. I really like him. Milewski was being punished for getting sent off, basically.
Yeah. Absolutely. Ryan saying there wasn't a Bostock performance last night. They didn't perform. They just turned up.
That showed great character, Ryan.
Great character.
Opposition
great
like
character. That brings us over to probably the most interesting tactic of the night, I think, in the Walton Casuals with a 5 across the middle. I don't think that's ever been done recently in the Super League, certainly not in this iteration. And you can see that the idea is just to try and flood that AM line and create as much as you can for Clivert. We've obviously said what we've said, and people have said about Hodgie. He should have been doing better this season with the kind of 11 that he's got. Do you think that Hodgie has got the kind of commitment when it goes to shit to kind of put that right, or is it the case of when Hodgie's got a top team, flying team, he's smashing it, he's balls deep in it, he's loving it, but anytime he kind of seems to have that little bit of a wobble, he kind of backs away and plays Stuart Parnaby up front?
Yeah, he's definitely done that. And you can't argue against it. He's definitely kind of removed himself from the situation, but he's still a class player, still a dangerous opponent. But he's definitely thrown it in a little bit for the rest of the season. But like I said, I still don't look forward to playing him because he's got a class team and he's obviously got tactic fouls at work because he's fucking been up there before. So yeah, it's never an easy match against Casuals, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think
like he said, he put that stat out, didn't he, about only got beat by 1 goal more than once. So he's always in every game. He's in every game. Yeah. He's not been beaten badly.
Absolutely. I'll not ask you for a prediction, Dimble, as we kick off, but this is equally massive for you after that Gazelles result as it was for Dragons. And you think probably a point is the bare minimum that you need from this result to really, really kind of try and keep the pressure off you a little bit. Looks to be a lot of black and orange there. Vogel with a yellow card. Rui Costa in there, and there is an Elka. That's why he's the top guy at East Coast Cosmos. And he gets his 10th goal of the season. He's been quiet, but he's been effective in those games where Dimble's managed to get over the line. Rui Costa, seen his name a hell of a lot in the text. Sorochinsky Hershey, That was a rebound chance, but it didn't look as though they put it in the back of the net. And there is an injury for Guti, who is on a 6. What do you do here? I haven't seen Hodgie in the chat, so I'm just going to go Andre Uya. Unless he comes on, I'll give him.
He can play midfield. He's a 20 as a midfielder, just so you know.
Yeah.
I don't think Cambiasso is, and Sorochinsko might be, so you can swap them over. But apart from that, I think that's the right thing.
Mm-hmm. I'll just give him 30 seconds or so. Happy with how you've started, Dims?
Yeah, one goal score, which is more than I usually score. So yeah, happy with that. See if I can keep out. He's gone to the top. Makes sense. We've been winning 1 down.
Yeah. Lovely. Excellent. And we will crack on just before half time, see if that makes a difference. Ortega with a free kick. Henri getting in there. Excellent tackle. A lot of Cosmos pressure as we reach this half time whistle. 4 chances, 4 on target, 1-0 up is the scoreline that matters at half time. We'll go to Hodgie first just so you can see it. Esteban Cambiasso, who I think was really highly quoted in that closing stages of the window. Certainly Dragons had a sniff of him, but didn't shake hands on it. Sorochinski is one of those players that is kind of Hodgie through and through, not letting his man down. The winger's probably not creating enough for him, you would probably say. Over to Cosmos, really solid front to back. Ariel Ortega, again with another kind of performance that doesn't really hit the standards he's hit for you over the last couple of seasons, although he does look absolutely amazing in save. Are you doing anything here, Dimble?
Nah, Ortega's got a free pass. He don't like to tackle, but that's fine. That's the only reason he's got a 6 there.
Spot on. And Hodgie goes as is, as well as we get towards 60 minutes. A second goal would be absolutely massive for Cosmos, and Casuals could really try and have a say. I think Casuals play, every team Casuals play from here on in is in the top 6 as it stands. So Casuals have really got a chance to spoil the party for a couple of teams. If Hodgie kind of... Absolutely. If Hodgie wants to be the party pooper a little bit, I think they might have Haggis next, or Badgers next. I'm not sure off the top of my head. We'll see what Hodgie wants to do there. Dimble, I think I probably know the response already, but are you doing anything here, mate?
Just check condition just to make sure. But yeah, I think I'm... Oh, actually, no. Voldenkov, what's he on a 7? No, fuck it. If he gets injured, I can replace him. It's fine.
Hodgie moving to something a little bit more conventional. Hodgie, if you just confirm if you want the arrow on or not, mate. Did Tato say that Joyce has been stopped by the doctor?
Yeah, his eye was shut, so I didn't see how it happened or anything. It's in the background, but I was concentrating on this more. But yeah,
and we go on.
Couldn't see.
Clivert has been very, very quiet, and there is Mendes Silva. That is an absolutely massive goal. He has absolutely been class. Casuals really struggling to create anything now, and that chase for top 6 might just be turning into a chase for the 6th spot with the way that results have went tonight. East Coast Cosmos, a dominant 2-0 home performance. That feels like the Cosmos we know, and that has been successful after the recent wobbles over the last 7 or 8 games. You must be pretty buzzing with that, Dims.
Yeah, that's more like it, isn't it? Look, Costa got a 5 last night, and I could have easily dropped him. I had faith that if we were good, Costa would be brilliant. That's what I'm thinking. It's not reliant on Costa being good for us to be brilliant. I think it's the way around. If we're good, then he'll be good, and that was the only kind of decision I had to make, really. But yeah, really happy with that. Unlucky
Hodgie with 5, 6 sixes from players that need to be, on 6s or on 7s or above, really, to be winning games. That's kind of it. Guti looks absolutely dead. And that is as dominant a 2-0 win as you're probably going to see. That brings us on to our last game of the evening. Just a quick reminder of how they look. Bostock Stanley being forced to bring Wilfred Brammer into MC with an arrow, but that is very horsey and something that he won't be opposed to. Northern Burn, this is how they go. Lee Chun-Soo coming in. I'm not going to click on him because I know Edwards is a little bit superstitious, but I don't think he's had many kicks of the ball this season. Prediction here, Dimble, do Bostock Stanley need a win, or that's them out of the race for the 6?
Yeah, I was just looking at the tables, flicked over.
So we know that Gazelles are on 32, Cosmos are on 33, Dragons are on 29 with Gazelles to play, Celtics are on 28, Bostock would, I suppose, even if they got beat tonight, they would still be in the hunt. But a win here would really put them
Bostock
amongst
win
it.
makes it more interesting for the neutral. But I probably apologise to Dan and Swan. But yeah, a Northern Burn would make me a lot more comfortable tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be fair, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be probably a draw, is what I predict.
Massive save from Chiotis, and in those games where Northern Burn have been on the wrong side of chances, Chiotis has put in great performances. Chance there for Saviola. Obviously, Sigalko being rested tonight, so that favourite scoreline of Macca's 1-0 Northern Burn Sigalko goal isn't going to be a possibility. Saviola offside. Sliding tackle there. Simkoviak has a chance. Saviola there. Saviola showing his manager that he does have the strength and depth that the league tells him that he does. And that is 1-0. Ryan's got Manchester Marathon tomorrow. Best of luck to you, mate.
Hope it
goes. Oh, yeah, he must be. Hope it goes well. Hope you get round safe and happy and not chafed too much.
Yeah. Some headers as you go over the finish line just to go.
Absolutely. Hopefully in a full Chester shirt, I think. Northern Burn pretty dominant at the half. Although it looked as though Bostock were having a fair few chances in tech. Simkoviak certainly put one over. Montella was certainly one-on-one at the keeper with 1 point. So there is the stats and fitness for the boys. And there is Northern Burn in contrast. Harry Keogh with a booting. Saviola not doing much other than having a shot and putting it in the back of the net. He's got Vaseline at the ready. Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. I've only ever done a couple of half marathons, and it's a killer. So I cannot imagine what a full is. Is it a full marathon? Yeah, Jesus, 26 miles.
Okay, Ryan, get rest up, mate. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, best of luck, lads. Hope you get around safe and well. And there is Edwards, who goes as is. Arrow off Crespo for the Bostock boys, and continue to 60 minutes as we get into the last 45 minutes of what has been an absolutely class night of Super League action. We've had absolutely everything. Shots with a double save. Simkoviak is absolutely involved in everything that Bostock do as an MC. Love to see that. Looks as though Northern Burn are having to hold a little bit of the pressure, and just given how the match is going and that it's a very important one, I'd rather be too early than a jump to 80 minutes and the lads not get a chance to change anything. So we do stop slightly early on 56 minutes. Look to be all Bostock since half time there, Dims.
Yeah, came into a bit more. Conditions are good. How's the performances looking? I imagine you'll see a change at least. I don't really see what Anders Svensson brings on. I was hoping that it would be a horse masterclass. I've looked at him before and thought he looks all right, but then whenever I've actually tried him, he's been pretty dog shit. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise us if he kind of ships Balmar out to the left and maybe brings Gattori on there as an MC or as an AMC to try and get back into this. Although Horse doesn't really want to chase games or go one at the back or anything daft like that, is he really? Kind of backs his tactic file. We'll just hop over to Northern Burn. Dan's taking a little bit of a while.
He could go one DMC and 3 strikers like he did with Australia. That could be an option.
Yeah, and there is Burn. McAlealy on a 5, was that, I think? McAlealy on a 5 in that MC position. What could he potentially do there? Drop Keel back and put Pekovic on, maybe. Pekovic. The Horse is going to make changes first. Gattori for Boomer as the only change. I thought maybe Boomer might have stayed on and Junior would have been gone for Gattori, but that makes absolutely perfect sense. And Edwards goes as is and backs his boys to get the job done. Shots can't hold on to it, but Barry Ferguson is the man that gets it away. Svensson there with a chance. Crespo with a fair shot, puts it over the bar. That is massive. Montella moves too soon, it's offside. We are into the last few minutes that came out of nowhere. Mario Yepes, Junior, Hupia, Conrad, not what the Bostock boys want to see. Chiotis has been absolutely massive. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets man of the match tonight. Simkoviak holds up the play. Barry Ferguson with a tactical yellow card. Zielius, Prutton in there. Zielius can't stop Prutton getting past him. Svensson with fury. Chiotis again with another massive save. Northern Burn withholding the pressure. And with a little bit of rotation, a scoreline that we've seen a hell of a lot of this season is Northern Burn 1 and their opponents 0. And I would bet a decent amount of money that Chiotis is going to be man of the match. And there he is, with the 9 for Northern Burn. It was pretty poor from 56 to 85. It jumped so quickly. But that is the Burn ratings. And even with a Claude McAlealy 5 and Zielius only making 50% of his tackles, the Northern Burn juggernaut marches on, Dimble.
A lot of effort from Zielius, though. There's a lot of effort. 20 attempted. Is some going?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bostock were very, very unlucky. I think regardless of what happens with the six, there's ominous signs, I think, of Horse and Swan getting it to click for next season, Dims.
Yeah, I think they'll be very solid next year. They're going to be a very tough team to play, and I think a top six spot for the next season might be on. It might be too much from this year now. I think that gap's opened up a little bit now.
Yeah, it has a little bit. And Gazelle's definitely the biggest winners of tonight, not just by scoreline, but also with the actual results going elsewhere. Dragons were held to a 0-0 by a solid, if unspectacular, Boothstown Badgers with a late Roy Keane red card and also a late penalty shout turned down. Northern Burn, as we've just seen, 1-0 from Saviola, putting pressure on Segalko being rotated out, and also a Chiotis man of the match. He scores Cosmos, look to be returning to something like their best with the formation and tactic and ratings. They get past Walton Casuals 2-0 with Anelka goals and Mendes de Silva goals as well. Gazelle's definitely the biggest run and win of the night. They maybe have killed Fulchester United's or Fulchester Phoenix's chances there, but there's still 5 games to go, I think, after tonight. 4 games to go, is that, Dims? What are we on now? 21? With a 3-1 win, scoring the goals from absolutely nowhere. Haggis, there was question marks over the Haggis management team. They stayed true and they stayed firm, and they absolutely battered White Rose and won 4-2. Steve Wright's miserable run of form continues. Astor Athletic, Mike Savage, we forgot about that one, beating PPP 3-2 and getting his first win in just about 15 or so games, I think. And then the Vikings machine marches on with a solid, if unspectacular, but still equally as dominant 2-1 performance to get the 3 points with a Vieira red card and a Gattuso red card as well, which leaves the league table looking like this. There are no formal cues, but we think based on a 12-point gap and 4 to go and a superior goal difference that essentially the Vikings are into the top 6 with a great cue, shall we say. We've got Northern Burn top with 47 points, looking to break that 50-point barrier, which has only been done a couple of times in the past. The Vikings on 41 points in second. Haggis find themselves back into third on 38 points. Badgers slip back to fourth because of that 0-0. The Dragons on 38. Their scoring woes again might just cost them that top 3, top 2 spot. East Coast Cosmos into fifth with 33 points. A huge win for Dimble's boys tonight. Gazelles 32 points into sixth. The Dragons now 3 points behind Gazelles, but with a far superior goal difference. They play each other in about 2 games' time. I think Wednesday night, that'll be an absolutely massive game. Celtics are not dead yet, 28 points in 8th. Bostock Stanley are not dead yet, 9th in 28 points. And Fulchester Phoenix are reaching probably close to what is the last hurrah based on the form, but they're still in touching distance with 12 points to play for. PPP in 11th on 25 points. Casuals in 12th on 22 points. White Rose on 13th with 18 points, and Astor Athletic, determined not to have that wooden spoon, are chasing down White Rose on 14th in 17 points. Fixtures tomorrow night, so again 24-hour turnaround for packs, guys. If I get them an hour before kickoff, that's absolutely fine. If anyone's struggling, let me know. We have Astor against East Coast Cosmos. Probably feeling a little bit less confident after that Astor performance, Dims.
Yeah, well, at least he's got the win out of the way. I suppose it's never good to play a team on a massive losing run. You always fear the worst. But yeah, it's a tough game. Every game's a tough game, and I think Astor are never a pushover in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Dragons against Bostock, you would think that, a defeat for either of those tomorrow night probably ends, realistically, if not mathematically, their playoff chances. Fulchester United against PPP, who suffered the first defeat under Alf Bridge tonight. Fulchester need to find something in that game. Northern Burn against Gazelles. The rest of the league in that top 6 chase is looking for maybe Maxim Segalko to come in and do a favour for the rest of them. The Vikings against Haggis. That is going to be an absolutely stellar game. I think we'll end with that game, regardless of who's on the court cards.
Finishing second. So that's a massive game.
Absolutely massive. Just cuts down on the potential for suspensions, cuts down on the potential for injuries, gives you 2 attempts to get into the final, only playing 2 games. Massive. Casuals against Celtics. Celtics will be looking to put Hodgie away and keep them hopes alive. And then White Rose against Badger, still not be taking that down lightly. I'm going to swerve looking at team stats and stuff, Dimble, just because I'm conscious how late it is. We're fast approaching 11:30. Cheers for your company tonight, and also cheers to the lads that got involved on a Saturday night. Really do appreciate it. Anything from you, Dimble?
No, thanks for having me on. It's a lot easier doing co-coms than it is doing the whole thing. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it for a change.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to do packs straight away, lads. But for now, if anybody's got any issues with submitting tomorrow, just let me know. Cheers as always, and viva the Super League. See you in a bit.
No, lads.